Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. It's Friday with Sandy. Sandy Kreisberg, HBS guru in Boston. We have a terrific young candidate, 23 years old. She's in Canada, works for the equivalent of the Import-Export Bank for Canada, and has a finance background. Has also worked for Deloitte, 710 GMAT, and 9.7 out of 10 GPA, which is the equivalent of a 4.0 from the University of Ottawa. She, as the dream catcher in the background of her room in her home suggests, is dreaming of 9 different schools, including Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, but also Haas, Yale, Cornell, UT-Austin, UCLA. I don't know if I missed any. I don't think I did.
Yeah, well, lots of schools like that. We get the idea.
Yeah. So Sandy, what are you thinking?
The thing I stumbled over was a 710 GMAT. I suggested to Priya that she take it again, but she said she's took it a couple of times. So she's got a 710. So the schools are just going to have to swallow that. John, as I asked you before, if you were an admissions officer and you had one student who took the GMAT once and got a 710, and there was another student who took the GMAT twice and got 2 710s, which one would you prefer?
I like the latter student because you know that person actually wants this badly, and that's exactly who you want in the class.
Yeah, they like people who
work hard for it.
Sit still, swallow stuff, and spit it back. So taking the GMAT many times is a good predictor of that trait. So Priya, they're just going to have to love you with the 710.
Right.
And you've got pretty much like a 3.9 at the University of
Ottawa.
Yeah.
Boy, Ottawa. What's Ottawa? Is that a city in Canada?
Yeah, Ottawa is actually the capital city in Canada, but not many people know it compared to.
I did know that.
Toronto,
Okay.
Montreal.
Exactly,
That was the only
yeah.
thing
Vancouver.
I knew. Yeah.
Yep.
What's UO like?
Yeah, so University of Ottawa, I mean, probably not as well known as U of T Rotman, for example, but it's a very large research-based university. You know, majority of my peers I've grown up with have gone there. So I think I got a very good foundational business undergrad. And I know when I went on exchange to Singapore.
Okay, so then tell us what did you do after Ottawa?
Yeah, so after I did go on exchange part of my undergrad, and then I graduated, and right after there I started an internship at Deloitte in consulting. I did get a return offer there, but I realized that wasn't.
No, was that a post-grad thing?
That was right after graduating, yes.
And so you did so you got a gig at Deloitte in their consulting, and then how long did you stay there?
Yeah, so it was a summer internship. So I did that for 4 months. They offered me a full-time return offer, but I actually was not enjoying it as much. And so I got the full-time position at EDC instead. And I knew that EDC was always somewhere.
Where?
So Export
EDC.
Development Canada, EDC, is where I work right now. And that is the credit agency, trade financing, and that's where I currently work. So I definitely enjoyed that a lot more compared to the work I was doing during my consulting internship. I think that's just because of the finance skills that I can put to good use, and also just learning about so many entrepreneurs and small businesses is more in line with my goals.
Now, Priya, I would think that is a more bureaucratic organization than Deloitte Consulting. I wonder why you'd want to work in a bureaucracy then.
Yeah, so EDC's, it's interesting positioning. It's actually a crown agency, so it's not quite government. It's kind of in the middle. Yeah, and so I think it's really interesting because you get to see a blend of both, and you can kind of leverage both of those backgrounds.
Sure.
And also in Deloitte, we're actually doing a lot of public sector consulting, and just the type of work I wasn't getting that finance.
All right, let me get the line up here. So how long did you stay at Deloitte? 4 months summer gig, and then and then after that you joined the Import-Export Bank of Canada, and you've been there for how long?
Yeah, so I've been there for 2 years now.
Okay.
Coming up to 2 years. Yeah. So I started as a student, I got promoted to associate, and hopefully I can get promoted to senior associate before leaving.
That would be
That'd
good.
be
So you're
Right, so you
applying
already have a
from your,
promotion. Yeah, that's
so
good.
you're applying from your third year. You will be
Yeah.
applying from your third
I would
year.
have had 3 years, yes.
Yeah.
So the beauty of this is you're applying early. I know you want to start school in fall of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you don't get into what you would want to be your target school, you have a shot to reapply, maybe even take another position somewhere else and prep yourself for that, which is a really nice advantage because you've got a real good head start here.
Right.
You know, one
And-
thing you might consider, Priya, okay,
Okay.
what's happening right now is what I would call the COVID-19 admissions round. Didn't
Yeah.
exist before, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you have two schools, Yale and Booth, that have significantly expanded on their final deadlines now. So Booth added 59 days to its final deadline, Yale 42 days. You could sneak in apps to those two schools and maybe start earlier.
Oh, okay. So as
Yeah.
in the round 3
Now,
application.
here's why I would suggest that you do that. The American schools are facing the prospect of losing 35 to 40% of their class.
Mm-hmm.
They are in a position right now where they're scared to death that they're going to start a full class and internationals are not going to be able to come. Because you're from Canada, you'd be able to get into the US on a student visa, no problem.
Okay.
Right? So if I were you, I would go at Yale and Booth this year, see what happens. Maybe you start school in August.
Oh, wow. Definitely.
And if it doesn't work out, fine.
Okay.
At least you have a little early practice in doing an application
Right.
for when you really want to go anyway.
Well, do you think, here's a question, John. Do you think she'd be more attractive with another year's worth of experience?
Yes.
I don't.
You don't?
No, I'm agreeing with you that she should apply ASAP.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? And can I hear maybe your reasoning to why you think that?
You just want to move along with your life. That's all. You're not going to be, I don't think you're going to gain any, well, you tell me, are you going to gain any valuable experience at the bank in the
No.
next year?
I mean, if anything, I think ideally if I could get promoted, I think it'd show good leadership growth. But apart from that, in terms of where I want to be,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can capture the leadership in your essay and your recommendations. I think.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, even if I do go ahead and apply in these delayed round 3s, there's very few spots that, I mean, maybe now with the whole COVID situation
Okay, we're in uncharted territory. I don't know what this new round is.
You know,
round
used to be
3.
round 3 was
Right.
was used to fill out the gaps in the class. You had fewer women, you did more women. You had fewer consultants or investment bankers or tech people, you filled that in. Fewer people from certain geographies, you filled it in. That is not true this time. These schools are frightened to death that they're going to lose all their international admits who are not going to be able to come because of travel restrictions or the inability to get a student visa. They are really facing the prospect of losing a third of their entire class in the fall. And this is advantage to you. This is a buyer's market, okay? And this means
John knows this stuff.
more
Yeah.
scholarship money, far higher chances of an admit, and you are perfect. Here's why. You have an Indian background and you're from Canada. You qualify as an international student.
Mm-hmm.
And international students are going to be dropping like flies from US business schools because they can't get in.
Okay.
That's why Yale and Booth, well, like I said, have extended their app deadlines the most. I'm going to be really honest. Harvard, Stanford, and Wharton. Sandy, what do you think her chances there anyway?
It's a real reach.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's nothing driving you in unless they value very highly your experience with import-export bank.
Mm-hmm.
You are a super likable person.
Thank you.
You present really well. You're incredibly articulate. You're thoughtful about your life. But you know, you would have to retake the GMAT again.
You're right.
And aim for like 740, 50.
Well, who gets into Harvard with a 710 GMAT?
Boy, Sandy, you're the expert.
International students, celebrities, and underrepresented types. Indians are certainly not underrepresented, and I don't think Canadians are either. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, given into the area that I'm interested in, maybe because it's the whole social impact aspect, would that resonate with some of those schools?
Yeah, I think somewhat, but that's why I think Yale is a beautiful choice for you. There are a lot of people who are really interested in social impact, social enterprise. Yale,
I agree with John as to Yale. As to Harvard, they don't care what you say you want to do. They care what you've done.
Right.
Let me say that again. As to Harvard, this is important. They don't care so much what you say you want to do as long as it's plausible.
Mm-hmm.
They care what you've done.
Okay.
Let me tell you someone who doesn't say that out loud. Who, John?
Chad Losey.
Yeah, exactly.
The managing director of admissions at Harvard Business School.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Harvard doesn't say that out loud, but see what watch what they do, not what they say there. Right.
So, Booth has a lot of money. You can,
Yeah.
and the other thing about right now, they're going to be throwing money at people like never before. And Yale is right in the pocket for what you want to do. And you'll find like-minded people there. You'll be able to go to the other schools within the university to deepen your experience in the sustainability and food market.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
Really good.
Good. Yeah, good, excellent choice. And
Okay.
Okay, let's make it harder. What about like Wharton or Kellogg?
Wharton is definitely, I think, within your reach.
Okay.
For next year. Wharton is not changing its deadlines this year, but your plan was for next year anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wharton is kind of is a possibility, strong possibility for you. Harvard and Stanford, I really don't think so, unless you want to go take the GMAT again and get a 740, 750.
I mean, I heard they're going to take it online, so.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Starting today, in fact, GRE put its exam at home. And in mid-April, the GMAT is expected to go at home.
All right, this is maybe too much tough love for you, but just in general, John, some people, have you tried the GRE, Priya?
I have not. No, I stuck with the GMAT. And
some people do better, so if you were really dedicating your life 24/7 to getting a higher standardized test score, not something I recommend, but some people are that type. You might say, gee, maybe I'm a better GREer. Right. Isn't that right, John?
That's true.
Yeah.
But here's really, you got to apply to Chicago Booth and Yale.
I'm definitely going to
now.
Okay.
And consider that practice for the next year. If in fact you don't get in, you don't want to go. Even maybe you get in, you don't go. I'm going to tell you, you're going to get accepted by one of those two schools, and at least one of them is going to throw money at you. So you need to do that for yourself now.
Now, I do have a question. I do have a question about that. So if I apply to those schools and for whatever reason do not get in and apply again, would I be considered a reapplicant then with those?
You would, but you wouldn't. I think you seem certain that you're going to get another promotion, so I think it's okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm hoping I'll get the promotion before I leave for my MBA, but I'm not sure if that'll come before I apply to round one deadlines.
There's usually not a reapplicant penalty. The schools, they ask you to say what's new, but they don't really care. They're just stuck with a new deck to play. The schools just get dealt a new hand and they play it as best as they can, if you know what I mean.
And here's another reason why you should apply to Yale and Booth now, because when the recession hits, there are going to be a lot of applications coming in, okay, for next year. So I'd rather not see you have to compete in a much larger pool.
That's a very good point, John.
Okay, I'd rather see you compete right now at Yale and Booth, and you're going to get in. Hey,
when things get tough, the tough
Indian
apply to
classical
business.
music, right?
Yes. I've been doing that for over 15 years. I'm still a student. I also help teach other students, youth choir groups. So that's something I'm very much.
Like, what does that
involved
sound like?
I mean, do you want me to sing now?
Can you? I mean, what does it sound like?
So it's very different than other aspects. It's very note based. It's in a lot of different languages. So you have Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, Sanskrit, a lot of ancient cultures that I may not be able to speak, but I can sing them.
Very impressive.
So yeah, thank you. So I'm also involved in the cultural organization, volunteering in that. So that's my biggest extracurricular.
I believe there are video components of both the Yale and Chicago Booth application. I think you should be prepared to sing a few lines in
I
that.
will, yeah.
That's a good one.
Now, could I hear your thoughts on Berkeley, actually? Because I know until now, they've been one of my biggest choices for sustainability, especially.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good choice for Berkeley. Would be a really good choice for you. They have a small entering class, so and a low accept rate. Sandy, what do you think about Berkeley with the 710 and Priya's background?
Okay, what's the median score at Berkeley, John? Do you know?
Oh, not off the top of my head. I'm gonna get
730,
720.
720. Okay, so so they're not going to have to sacrifice too much there, and then everything else is really positive.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
yeah.
she's a kind of Berkeley type.
Berkeley pushed back its deadline only 1 month, so you could actually try Berkeley as well if you hurry up, right? Because I mean, you have a GMAT score, you won't have a student visa problem, and you won't have a travel restriction problem from Canada.
Yeah,
So,
before I check out here, let me just say this. What you have to do is package yourself. What you put here as your post-MBA goals, where your passion is helping small business owners succeed in growing their businesses while having a truly mission-driven goal in the sustainability. So you've got to really package that.
Right. Yeah.
I want to be an impactful venture capital in food security or sustainability. I admire firms like blah, blah. Who's a hero of yours? Who's someone who does that?
Right now in the industry?
Yeah.
Well, I think even just seeing these, the companies come up, like you see Impossible, you see Beyond Meat, like I think those types of companies that go into the market.
Just some general advice for you and everybody else who has a kind of a slightly non-traditional goal. You really should be able to name people who are role models, companies and people.
Okay.
If the people,
so the founder of Beyond Meat, the founder of Impossible Burger, or
yeah, exactly, yeah, it's something you could look up, but it just
John Mackey at Whole Foods, somebody.
it makes it so much easier to explain yourself.
For sure. Okay, it's a good tip.
All right, hey, good luck to you. Please apply now to Yale and Booth and even Berkeley. Okay, you have 1 extra month there. You're going to get in, okay, and then it's your decision whether you want to go or not, or whether you want to throw the dice next year and maybe try something else. But we think you should go now.
Wow,
all right, this is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Good luck to you, Priya. Thank you, Sandy, and to all of you out there. Thanks for watching.